Hi guys, this is Chris, welcome to my retro gaming channel. Today we're going to look at Final Fight. This game came out in late 1989 when I was 9 years old, and I have many fond memories of playing it in the arcades growing up. Before we start though, be sure to click the subscribe button and to ring the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. Okay, so first thing we'll do is take a quick look at the story. So the game's set in Metro City, which has been plagued by violence and death for many years due to the huge gang known as Mad Gear, and the new mayor of the city, Mike Hager, who's also a former street fighter, wants to put an end to all that. Naturally, the Mad Gear gang wants to stop him and keep him under their control, keep him in check. So here we see Hager receiving a phone call from one of the leaders of the Mad Gear gang, informing him that they've kidnapped his daughter Jessica, and if he wants her back, then he'll have to cooperate with them. But Hager doesn't take this lying down. Instead, he contacts Jessica's boyfriend Cody, who's an expert fighter and martial artist. Cody in turn informs his gym sparring partner Guy, who says that he'll help out because Jessica's his friend as well, and the three of them set out to destroy the Mad Gear gang and rescue Jessica. Okay, that's the story of Final Fight. Okay, so I'm going to play as Cody, and then the first round takes place in the slum, and we see Jessica get taken away by the bad guys, who break away the barrels that were there, and the game begins. Cody is the most well-rounded character. He has all-round attributes. He's also very, very good with knives, and we'll see that as the game progresses. The most basic move, as you can see, is punching there. The characters can also grab hold of an enemy, as you see there, and Cody will knee them. If you can knee them up to 3 times before dropping them, or you can throw them. A good tactic is to knee them twice and then throw them. Throwing an enemy has a double advantage in that it will cause them a lot of damage, but it will also knock down any other enemies that you throw them into and cause the other enemies damage as well. That can be a very handy move when you're fighting large groups of enemies all at once. Okay, so we've cleared the first area, so we're going to head into the next one. We see Cody break through a door there, and that move there, that's another move you could do. You can punch an enemy several times and then throw them in the opposite direction. That's a very handy move if you're punching one enemy but you have other enemies coming up behind you while you're doing it. Okay, so now we see Cody with a knife. Like I said before, he's very good with knives. He can attack very, very quickly with them and take down numerous enemies all at once or in rapid succession. Although he will drop the knife if an enemy lands or hits on him, as you saw there. Okay, he's picked it up again and he managed to finish that guy off. So this area's clear, so we break through another door and we're going back up the stairs to the next section. That joint of meat there replenishes a large amount of your health. Okay, as you see here, another good tactic is to punch the enemy once, and then while they're stunned from that punch, you can walk up to them and grab them, so you can then do your knees or your throws, as you saw there. Now we've reached the round 1 boss. His name is Damned. You'll recognise that he's the guy who we saw taking Jessica away at the start of this round, and he was also the one on the phone to Hager in the story sequence at the beginning. Twice during this fight, he goes to sit on the wall near the subway entrance and whistles to summon backup. After you've been fighting the backup for a few seconds, he'll then jump off the wall towards you, so you'll need to move out of the way to stop him scoring a hit on you and knocking you over. He's also quite agile and tends to jump and somersault around a lot and attack you with flying kicks. Okay, that's the last of his backup taken out, and he's almost out of energy as well, so I just need to finish him off. There we go. Okay, there we go. I've beaten him. That's round 1 complete, so I'm going to head into the subway for round 2. Okay, so the round starts on the train track platform, and you'll see here now, an important tactic in this game is to try to keep all the enemies on one side. That way they can't attack you from behind while you're fighting, and you can also knock them all down with punches at the same time and throw them into each other, as you saw just there. Now coming up here, we have the first appearance of a member of the Andor family. There he is there, the character in red. These are actually based on the real life wrestler Andre the Giant, these characters. You can do all your usual moves on them, including throwing them despite their large size, but they can charge you and knock you over, pick you up by the face, and pile drive you, so you have to be careful while fighting them. Okay, so now we're on the train as it's moving through the subway. You'll notice as we go through this train that every single window is broken and every single set of doors is covered in graffiti, which I guess shows just how nice an area Metro City is. Now the guy in orange there is a knife fighter. His name's Hollywood. You see a lot of him in this game, and another one with the same skills called El Gato. He's very agile, he gets up very quickly after getting knocked down. He can throw knives, he can do slides along the ground at you, and also do flying overhead knife attacks. Although you do get a warning before they're going to happen because he crouches down. But there's his sliding ground attack there, as you saw. You see there that even Andor can be knocked down and damaged by another enemy being thrown into him, despite his large size. This next guy is called Axel. He tends to block a lot of your attacks and doesn't try to attack you himself very much, usually unless you're facing the opposite direction. But when he does attack, if he manages to land a blow, it will do quite a lot of damage because he does have quite a lot of strength behind his attacks. Get triple knee there to finish that guy off. Okay, now we have another group, including Andor and Hollywood. Another clever tactic, which you saw there, is because Hollywood tends to get up faster than a lot of other enemies, including Andor, if you can grab him as soon as he gets up, you can then throw him again, and he'll knock Andor and any other slower enemies over as they're getting back up from the previous attack. Also, if you manage to knock Hollywood down while he has a knife in his hand, he'll then drop the knife and you can pick it up and use it yourself, which is very handy with Cody especially, because like I've said before, Cody is very, very good and very skilled with knives. So just to fight these off, again, because Axel tends to block a lot of your attacks, it's better to grab him and knee him or throw him, as I just did there. Okay, we've reached the end of the train. One more set of bad guys to fight off. That guy in yellow there is El Gato. I mentioned it before, he has exactly the same moves and attack patterns as Hollywood. That spinning kick move that you just saw me do there, all three of the playable characters have that multi-way attack. It takes out all enemies around them, but you can't just keep using it non-stop because you lose a bit of energy every time you use it. The way that move is done is by pressing the jump and attack buttons together. Okay, we've reached the end of the train line. So now we're on the train tracks, fighting the bad guys there. As you saw then, you can still use the punch and then throw attack against Axel. Even if he blocks your punches, you can still do the throw afterward. Okay, bad guys sending barrels to rolling towards you like that is something that happens several times in the game. Most often in the later levels, it's something you have to be on the lookout for, because the barrels will knock you over if they roll into you. And these guys here, these fire throwing guys, they come quite often as well. They'll often come, throw the fire, and then disappear off screen. Although you can attack them while they're on screen, and they can also be killed by their own fire. Okay, you saw there that Hollywood can be quite crafty. He'll often stand just out of reach of your jump, of your punch, sorry, and stab you. If that happens, the best thing is to do a flying kick towards him or to do the multi-way attack by pressing both buttons together. Okay, now we're in a boxing ring. This is where we face the level 2 boss. His name's Cody. This guy can be quite hard to beat because after you knock him down, he'll get up, then stand with his head down, and then at a certain time suddenly charge towards you, which can knock you over, as you saw him do there. As Cody, the best way to counter this is to do a flying knee attack like that, which will also allow you to get hold of him, so you can then knee him and throw him. Oh, yep, I think I've beaten him there. Okay, yep. Yep, that's so beaten, and that's round 2 complete. Okay, next is the first of the 2 bonus stages. In this one you have to smash the car to pieces as fast as possible. Obviously it's quicker to use lead pipe, so you just hit the car as fast as you can at the 3 breakpoints that you were shown at the start. There we go. And the faster you do it, the more time you have left. When it's done, the more points you get. There we go. I can usually do it with about 10 seconds to spare. Yep, there we go. Okay, that's complete. Now there's quite a funny animation here. After you walk off, the guy who owned the car appears, sees his car smashed to pieces, falls to his knees, says, "Oh my god," and starts crying. Watch.
Oh my god!
Even as a 9-year-old in the arcades, I thought that was quite funny. Okay, round 3 now. This is the west side of Metro City. This is the first time you get attacked by an entire screen full of enemies all at once. Again, the best tactics here are to use throws as much as possible, say to throw enemies into each other, and to try to get them all on the same side so they can't attack you from behind. And you can keep throwing them into each other, as you can see here. Anytime an enemy tries to walk over to the other side, walk over to them, grab them and throw them back again. You can also use the punch and throw attack, so throw an enemy back to the other side. Now, okay, there's only Andor left. Now, Andor does have a weakness in that he's vulnerable to being grabbed as he's getting up. So after you've thrown him, if you can get to where he is before he gets up again, you can grab him as he gets up and then do the same thing again. Cody isn't quite fast enough to get to Andor before he gets up simply by walking, so you'll need to do a backflip each time, as I just did there. Okay, now there's an Elgato. I've said before, you know, he has the exact same attacks as Hollywood, but again, just like Hollywood, if he has a knife in his hand when he gets knocked down, the knife will fall on the floor, and you can then pick it up and use it yourself, as I'm doing here. Oh, that was the flying overhead knife attack there that I mentioned before. Did you see it? But you, like I said, you get a pre-warning that that's going to happen because they crouch down for a second before they do it. So you'll need to stay alert for that while fighting them. There's also no limit on the distance they can do it from as well. They can do that attack on you even from right across the screen if you're on opposite sides of the screen. Okay, so I'm now fighting another Andor as well as another enemy called Wong Hu. You'll notice him there. With him and a few other guys like him, you have to be quite cautious about his charge, because if he decides to do a charge and knock you over, he'll quite often then do another charge while you're down, which will knock you over again as you're getting up, and there's no way you can avoid that. Okay, so I've beaten that part. Now I'm not actually controlling Cody now, he's actually walking automatically, but then an Andor comes, picks him up and takes him away, where he finds himself in a boxing ring ready to fight 2 more Andors of different colours to what we've seen before. But because there's weapons available in the ring, like I said, as long as Cody can keep them on the same side and arm himself with a knife, he can take these guys out quite easily, as we're doing here. Look. There's one down, and there's the other. Okay, so that was pretty easy, pretty straightforward. So now we return to the point that we just got taken away from. Break up the other door to go back outside again. Okay, there's another Elgato, but there's no other guys, there's no backup this time, it's just him, so just me and him, one-on-one. Okay, so now we've got another Wong Hu, along with another guy who I think is called Bill Bull, looks just like him, and a woman who's called Poison. Again, use the usual tactic of trying to keep them all on the same side and throwing them into each other, as I'm doing here. Poison is quite agile, quite athletic, and will often try to jump over to the other side of you, in which case you'll need to get hold of her and throw her back again in order to keep them all on the same side. Okay, I did make a slight mistake there. I allowed them to come at me from both sides at once, which meant I had to do the multi-way attack to knock them down. Okay, so now we face the round 3 boss. He's a corrupt cop named Eddie E. He is vulnerable to attack when he first appears, so you can use a few punches, flying kick, and a punch and throw attack, as I just did there. Now he typically uses 3 attacks. He'll either pick you up and strike you with his truncheon, or just strike you when you're on the ground, or he'll try to shoot at you. Ooh, yeah, he managed to strike me twice there, so I've lost a life there. But I'm back now. Now, do you see that that blue thing on the ground on the right of the screen? That's actually a life up. If you can get that, if you need it, that will actually replenish about half your life for the level. But anyway, so yeah, what he does now is he'll walk to one side of the screen and try to shoot at you. If you get too close to him, he'll then try to walk back to the other side of the screen. And ideally, you need to try to catch up with him and grab him while he's doing that. So then you can knee him and throw him and eventually finish him off, as I've done there. Okay, round 3 complete. Round 4 is the industrial area. The first part of this level involves walking over a kind of grating where a lot of fire comes up from beneath. So you have to be careful to not get burned by the fire. Although it can work to your advantage if you can throw the enemies into the fire. They'll usually get finished off by it, as happened there, and they'll save you trouble. This next part here though is quite hard. Fire comes up constantly from the floor in different places, and you have to fight the enemies while avoiding the fire at the same time. A tactic that sometimes works for me here is to try to stay at the leftmost part of the screen. The fire is unlikely to get you there, and if you can get hold of any enemies and throw them to the right, they'll then have to cross over potential fire areas to get back to you. Although a disadvantage, as you just saw there, is that you don't know if any enemies are approaching you from the left until they've already hit you. Okay, again, only Andor left, but looks like the fire is going to help me take him out in this case, so that was handy. Okay, that's that part finished. Now you just need to fight your way to the end of this corridor. Okay, here's another example of those barrels that I mentioned to you in round 2. The best ways to avoid being knocked over by those barrels are to either do a flying kick or to do the multi-way attack. Doing the multi-way attack will, of course, lose a little bit of your energy, but it will split open all the barrels, not just the one that's coming directly towards you. And if there are any bonuses, such as health bonuses or weapons inside them, obviously that's going to be handy if you can break all 3 of them open for that reason. Okay, another Andor and another poison. And the other guy is called Slash. He's very similar to Axel, except he wears different colours. And he tends to block your attacks even more than Axel does. Again, the best way to fight him is to try to grab him and then do your knees and your throws on him. In this case, it would be handy because you can also throw him into Andor. Okay, there's poison go. There we go. Got hold of Slash and managed to throw him into Andor. Again, now it's just been Andor, and again I can use the tactic of grabbing him as he gets up. Although because he went off the left of the screen there, I couldn't actually grab him, so I had to do the punch and then throw attack instead, as I'm doing here. Okay, that's good. That's finished him off. Now these two guys here, who repeat quite a lot, were called the yellow one is called J, and the orange one is called 2P. They do tend to dance around you a lot without attacking much when they appear, so they can be a little bit frustrating to fight at times. Oh, take it out there. That's one disadvantage of doing the punch and then throw. If you're punching multiple enemies, is that obviously you can only throw one of them at a time, and while you're throwing that one, another one can potentially hit you because you'll be facing the wrong way for a second. Okay, that's that part done. Right, now the second part of this round is the lift. Okay, at the top of this lift we'll meet the round boss. Oh, that's it there. You see that guy climbing up the ladder there, throwing grenades onto the lift. That's the boss. His name's Rolento. He's a red beret and tends to throw grenades around a lot. But we have to fight our way through a few of the bad guys to get to him first. So we've got some weapons, so again a knife is very handy for Cody. Also, it is a good idea if you can manage it to try to direct the bad guys into the grenades that Rolento throws, because they do quite a lot of damage to them. Okay, now there's 3 Elgatos. Okay, we're at the top of the lift, and here's Rolento. Now, when he first starts fighting, he'll do one of 2 things. He'll either come towards you and try to hit you with his stick, which you can't block with punching, so you'll need to do a flying kick to avoid that. Or he'll jump off the wall or the side of the lift and tries to do a flying kick on you, as he does here, look. He is vulnerable to being grabbed as he comes down from that kick if you can avoid being hit by it. So then you can do your knees and your grabs. Now once you've got him down to about 2/3 or half bar of energy as I have now, he'll suddenly change tactic completely. He'll start running around it almost in a kind of manic mode and throwing grenades constantly. Once that happens, you have to try to just catch him with punches or knife throws, or sometimes you can manage to grab him and eventually you'll finish him off. Okay, he's done. Right, now the second bonus round. This one you have to break the glass, but you have to hit the glass as close to the centre as possible to break it. If you hit it a little bit to the side, you'll only damage it a little bit and have to hit it multiple times. And if you hit it too far to the side, all you'll do is actually spin the glass round. Okay, that's done. Bonus points for the time remaining. Okay, round 5 is the Bay area. This is quite a long level, and it's also the only level in the game that's continuous from beginning to end. Every other level has 2 or more different sections, but this one doesn't. It just continues all the way through. First, you have to fight your way through a few groups of the smaller guys, including encountering Slash a couple of times, as we are here. And as always, the best tactic is to try to keep them all on one side and to throw them into each other as much as possible. Yeah, I had to use the multi-way attack there. Sometimes it is very hard to avoid ending up with having them on both sides. So there are times where you'll have no choice but to use the multi-way attack. There we go. Okay, now we're almost finished with this first parts now. In a moment, once we've fought our way through these guys, you'll get to a point where you have to fight 4 of the big fat guys. Bilbo, G Oriba and Wong Hu all at once. Again, you'll need the best tactic with them is to try to throw them into each other, but again you need to be wary of their charges because they can charge at you and knock you over. And like I said before, they'll often do a second charge while you're down, which you can't avoid. Once you've beaten those 4, here they come. Another 4 of them will then appear. You'll have to fight those as well. So there we go. The best way to counter their charges is to either throw a knife at them if you have one, or to do a flying kick. Okay, there's 2 of them down. 3 of them down, sorry. Now when the others appear, they'll always come in a set pattern. One will run in from the right, then another from the left, then another from the right, and then another from the left. And if you're careful, if you do a set of flying kicks, as I did there, you can actually avoid getting knocked over by any of them. So there we go. There's 1 down. It's best not to let them come onto the screen before you fight them. It's best not to try punching off the side of the screen where you can't see what's happening, because they could then charge at you without you knowing it until they've knocked you over. Okay, that's all of them down. Now a big load of barrels with points and health bonuses in. Now we have 2 Andors coming up at the same time here, a red Andor Junior and a pink Andor. There we go. The best thing to do with these is to try throwing them or grabbing and kneeing them as much as possible, because the Andors can sometimes break out of your punching, especially if you're trying to punch more than one of them at the same time. And of course, throwing one into the other will damage them both and knock them both down. Yeah, that's them finished. Oh, now there's another instance of the guys rolling the barrels towards you, but I did the multi-way attack, which broke all the barrels open. Now, coming up here, we're about to have some barrels rolled in from the right, and again a couple more from the left a moment later. Again, if you're in the multi-way attack, that will break them open, and there are some bonuses inside. There we go. There's a knife inside one of them, so I'm using that now. Dropped it there though. Oh, didn't manage to do the multiplayer attack before those barrels came though. Okay, now coming up after this, we have a quite long stream of poison enemies, along with another female called Roxy, who's the same as Poison but has orange hair instead of pink hair and doesn't usually have as long an energy bar. Now these female enemies, Poison and Roxy, are quite athletic and they tend to jump around a lot, as you can see. But you ideally need to keep them all on the same side. But they will often try to jump over to the other side of you, so if that happens, ideally you need to get hold of them and throw them back. Or if they're almost out of energy anyway, you just need them to finish them off. Okay, and there is one Hollywood who appears to help at one point, and in a moment there'll be an Elgato to help them out as well. So okay, as you can see, I'm just using my tactic of keeping them on the same side, using the knife. If one jumps over to the other side, as one did there, I throw them back again, which, as well as keeping them on the same side, also knocks all the other enemies down. Okay, that's all those ones finished, so now there's some more. Again, the same thing. Keep them on one side, throw them, use the knife as much as possible. Two have jumped over together there, but they both jumped back again. That was good of them, wasn't it? Okay, so now they're on the same side again, and they're finished. And another group, again, Elgato helping them out this time. Again, another got caught by a knife by Elgato there. Okay, almost finished. Right, there we go, that's all of them done. So now we come to some rather graffitied and broken up. So it's quite similar to the subway train on the second round, if you remember. So we first fight an alpha group of these four smaller guys, and then there'll be a group of 2 J's and 2 2P's. J, the yellow one, tends to have slightly less energy than 2P as well, so again they're usually easier to finish off. And once we've beaten these, there'll be another group of this time 2 Axles and 2 Slashes. Again, Axel has a slightly shorter energy bar than, or life bar, sorry, than Slash. Let's do a multi-way attack there because they were coming from both sides at once. Remember, with these guys, if they do manage to get a hit on you, it will do quite a lot of damage because the hits are quite powerful. Okay, that's them done. Okay, another Slash, and remember, because he tends to block a lot of your attacks, if possible get hold of him and use your knees and your throws, as I did there. Okay, and a 2P as well. Okay, the Slash finished and 2P finished. So we'll come out the other end of the extremely pleasant toilets, and another group of them to fight off here. Okay, now you saw there I was punching 2P, but the others were coming up from behind, so I used the punch and then throw in the opposite direction technique to throw the 2P into them all. Okay, now after this we're going to have a wave of quite a few of the fire guys coming and throwing a lot of fire on the screen. It is quite difficult to avoid all the fire without being burned at all. The best thing to do is to try to hit the fire guys or grab them and throw them as soon as they appear on the screen. But that is quite difficult to do without knowing which side they're going to appear from or exactly when. But we'll see what we can do. Okay, almost finished with these guys. Okay, we go, here's the first group of fire guys. Well, I managed to avoid them at that time. There are still many more to come, and sometimes they'll come while I'm in the middle of fighting a group of other guys as well. So yeah, again another group. There seems to be a lot of J's, 2P's, Axles and Slashes on this level. Oh, here's another group of fire guys. Again, managed to avoid them though. Yeah, I think it was just a pure fluke that I managed to avoid the fire guys that time. I happened to get knocked over by Jay just as the fire was landing, so thank you for that, Jay. Okay, what's coming up now is similar to the earlier part of this round where you fought the 4 big fat Bilbuls and Wonkus, and then 4 more of them, except this time it's Hollywoods, 4 Hollywoods and Elgados, and then 4 more. Now, because these guys are quite fast and agile, it's hard to fight them if they're all up on their feet fighting at the same time, so ideally you need to keep knocking them over as quickly as possible by either using knives as much as you can, especially if you're Cody as I am, or by throwing them into each other and so on. But be wary that once you kill one, another one will then appear on the screen until a total of 8 have died, and the new one on the screen might well come at you from behind if you're attacking them all from one side. Okay, if you do get stuck in the middle of them, as I did there, then the best option is the multi-way attack, as I've done a few times here, as you see. There was a health bonus which I used a moment ago, which definitely helps in this case. Okay, so that's them done. Okay, we're almost at the end of the round now. We just need to fight through a few more groups of the smaller guys, and I think there's one group of Axles and Slashes as well. What you can see coming up in the background there is Metro City's answer to the Statue of Liberty. As we walk further right, it will gradually appear on the screen. Okay, I've got another 2P and another J to fight here. Another one of the smaller guys whose name I think is Bread. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Like I said before, there do seem to be a lot of Axles, Slashes, J's and 2P's on this level. And there you go, now you can see Metro City's Statue of Liberty. It's almost like we're going along the edge of Battery Park in New York, isn't it? At this point. Okay, now the boss, for this round is called Abigail. He's quite similar to Andor in appearance, but he also has extra abilities, like he can pick you up and throw you a very long way through the air, and he can also do what I call like a red mischarge, because he actually turns red with rage before he charges at you. You can't block that with punches, so the best bet is to do a flying kick or a multi-way attack, although remember the multi-way attack will drain a little bit of your energy. Or you can also stop him by throwing an enemy into him. As with the other enemies, you need to approach him from above or below, because if you approach from the sides, he'll just hit you or knock you over or grab you. Also, he is invulnerable to being grabbed for a second or so after he gets up, so try to avoid being too close to him for at least a second or two after he gets up before you approach him again for another grab. Try to do double knee, as Cody tried to do double knees and throws as much as possible, because he does have a very long energy bar. Okay, I think that's got him. Yep, there we go. Okay, round 5 clear. Okay, the final round of the game is Uptown. In this round, we fight our way into the Mad Gear's base, and we eventually confront its boss, who's called Belger. And if we beat him, we knock him out the window. So we start off in the streets at the entrance to the base. There are quite a few times this level where you'll have a whole screen full of enemies all at once. Sometimes the smaller ones like Bread and Doug, or other times the bigger ones like the Andors, Bilbul, Giariba, as well as Hollywood, Elgado, etc. Okay, so first of all we just need to finish this group off here. Now there will be another bigger load of barrels that they knock over at you here. Okay, but I managed to break that one without it knocking me down. Generally speaking, the guys who do knock the barrels have very low energy bars. So once you've dodged or broken the barrel, it won't take much to finish those off. Okay, this is one of the first big groups of guys. It's just the small guys here though. But again, the tactic of throwing them into each other works exceptionally well when you've got this many of them. The only thing to keep in mind though is that Axel and Slash, the Slash here, look, Axel and Slash can actually manage to get a hit in on you as you're throwing an enemy. The thrown enemy will knock them down afterwards, but if they do manage to get the hit in, it will still do quite a lot of damage to you. So be a little bit cautious about doing a throw if there's an Axel or a Slash stood very close to you at the time. Okay, that's him finished. Okay, now we're at the lift, but we have to fight another group first, Andor. A lot more enemies are about to appear, so let's try and do as much damage to Andor as we can before they appear. Okay, and then Gia Reaper. Oh. Got caught in a heavy flurry of attacks from the enemies there. So again, with this one, throwing them into each other helps. It's probably best to try throwing the lighter ones as well, if possible, because the lighter ones are easier to grab and to throw. Okay, there we go. That's those ones done. So now we're going to go up in the lift. It'll take us a long way up to the level of the base. I think that's to give you a sense of how far Belger falls when you do eventually knock him out the window. Okay, so we're at the higher level up now, so now we're going along the outer section of the base, the outdoor section. First we have to fight the big guys again. Bilbo, G Oriba and Wong Hu. Again, as long as these guys don't manage to charge at you, they're not that tricky to beat. Almost done. There we go. Now we've got a Poison, a Roxy, a J and a 2P. Go and use the usual tactics with the girls of any time they jump onto your other side, then grab them and throw them back. There we go. Okay, now one of the tougher parts to go here, we actually need to fight 3 Andors at once now. I think there were 2 red Andor juniors and 1 pink Andor. This is quite tricky. It's very hard to punch them all without them breaking out of the punch. And you also need to avoid getting stuck in the middle of them for obvious reasons. So the best tactic I find is try to throw them into each other, and if possible, try to get it so that that they won't always walk up in directly together. Quite often one will walk up faster than the other. Oh, and I managed to get hold of me and do a pile driver on me there. I was a little bit careless. So yeah, they'll often walk up separately, so if you can get an attack on one and throw them and then do an attack on the other, that will definitely work to your advantage, especially if you can throw them into each other. Okay, that's them done. Now we've got a couple more sets of J's and 2P's. And then after that, I think there's another wave of fire throwing guys. So let's see, we'll just finish these off first, and then we'll get to that next part. Okay, that's them finished. So yeah, here we go. Managed to get hold of one of them and throw them there. They're actually called Hollywood. It's actually the same guy as the knife throwing Hollywood, except he's dressed in a different coloured outfit and has a different weapon, obviously. Okay, that's all them avoided. Now we have a really big group of Axels and Slashes together. So the best thing to do here is to just stand there and keep punching. Oh, remember I said before that they could still get a hit in if you were in the middle of throwing someone. Well, that just happened there, look, you see, and it was quite a powerful hit which took me out. So with these, the best thing to do if possible is to try to just keep doing punches. Even though they block them, the energy bars will slowly go down, and you will manage to score the occasional hit through the blocks, especially with the Axels. Once you've got it down to just a few of them left, it's then safer to do the throws. And it is generally safe to do a throw as long as another one isn't standing close enough to you to attempt to hit at the time. Okay, some more barrel guys and some more fire throwing Hollywoods. Let's just finish these off. I think this is pretty much the end of the outer section of the base. Yep, here we go. There's the entrance. Okay, so now we're inside the base. There are two sections to the inside. First, there's this one which has an orange carpet and has lots of corridors going into the background. And then once we get through that, there's another one which has a blue floor, and that leads to where we confront Belgium, the final confrontation with Belgium. Here we've got a fight again with Elgato, Hollywood, Roxy and Poison, which is quite tricky because they're definitely the foremost agile characters in the game. Now we've got a big group of J's, 2Ps and the other smaller guys. So again, ideally we need to keep on the safe side. It is a bit tricky though, 2P and J can be a little bit unpredictable. Like I say, they tend to dance around you a lot, and then they'll usually just go in for one random punch when you're not expecting it, especially if you're facing the other way at the time. Okay, so that's them taken. Now we're in front of a window. We get another group of Bilbols, Georebas and Wampoos, and some more barrel pushing guys as well. Cody is definitely a strong guy. Well, all three of them actually. I say being able to throw guys as big as that, but all three of them. Guy can do it as well, so that Haggard doesn't do throws, he does backdrops and pile drivers, but he can still do it on all of the characters in the game, so they're definitely a strong group, the guys you can play as in this game. Okay, so now we've got another Andor, and Andor Jr. and a Jaina 2P. Usual tactic, keep them all on one side. If possible, try to get all of them and throw them. Okay. And with the Andors, now there's only the Andors left, we can use the usual tactic of attacking them as soon as they go. But because there are two of them, I'm not going to try to grab one of them, because the other one will attack me while I'm doing so. While I'm holding the other one. So that was why I was doing the punch, because the punch can affect both of them at the same time. Just going to knock down my chandelier there. Oh, and I got charged by Andor twice, in fact. Okay, finally finished him off. Okay, now we've got another big group of the small ones, along with a Wampoo and an Axel. This is another instance of having to use throws as much as possible. Keep them on the same side, although that is quite hard here because they do come from both sides roughly evenly. Oh, lost a credit there. Oh, so I'll continue. It's quite handy. The way that when you continue, when you come back onto the screen, the way they all fall down in the same direction is quite handy, because that means that you can then try. You've then almost all the time got them all on the same side, and all you have to do is try to keep it that way. Okay, now I've got another group of 3 Hollywoods and Elgatos. So again, I need to keep them all on one side. Use the knives as much as possible. It's best to keep them on the screen though, because if you keep trying to attack them while they're off the left side of the screen, you won't know if one of them's preparing for the flying overhead knife attack that's there, because you won't see them crouching down beforehand. Okay, so that's what those was done. Another set of barrel throwers here. Quite easy to get through, especially when you're Cody and you have a knife. Okay, so yeah, that was pretty quick. Okay, so now we're at the door at the end of this section, so we just need to fight off one last group of bad guys before we go through to the final section. Roxy and Poison. Oh, and another pair of fire throwing Hollywoods. Oh, and another knife Hollywood and an Elgato as well. Again, it's Cody trying to use if you have a knife, try to use it as much as possible, especially in large groups like this. Go, okay, almost done. There. Okay. Right, now we're through the door. Now actually I said the floor is blue, actually it looks a bit more like a pale white or very pale blue, doesn't it? Hard to tell, but Okay, so we're almost there now. We're almost at the final confrontation of the game. Just need to fight a couple more groups of guys. First, there's this group of small guys, and there is one more wave of the fire-throwing Hollywoods as well, which we'll come to in just a moment after we've got to these guys, and I think another group of these same guys again in just a moment. Yep, here we go. Here's the second group of them, and someone's very nicely rolling barrels into us all as well from off screen. Okay, we've finished. Well, almost, sorry. Almost finished the other ones. Actually, that's them finished, so I think it's the wave of fire-throwing Hollywoods now. Yep, there we go. Again, it's hard to... Oh, got burned there. Again, the fact that you've actually got a column right in your view, preventing you from from seeing all the fire probably doesn't exactly help here either. Okay, now coming up here, this is the final fight, to use the name of the game, which I think is the hardest one. If you see, we've got all the most formidable foes in the game all at once here. We've got an Andor Jr., a Bilbo, a Giariba, a Hollywood, an Elgato, a Poison, and a Roxy. So again, most support tactic is, although again it is easy said than done here, is to try to keep them on the safe side, and you have to be careful not to get knocked down at all, because if they manage to knock you down once, it'll be very hard to get back up again, because you'll constantly get struck as soon as you get back up. So usual tactics, try to throw them into each other, try to keep them on the same side as much as possible, use the multi-way attack as you need to. Okay, that's done. Right, so that's it. Now this is it. This is the final confrontation with the boss of Magia, Belger. He's when he comes, he's in a wheelchair and he's got Jessica with him. Here we go, and he also has a harpoon gun. So the first thing we need to do is get him up out of his chair, do the usual double knee and then throw, and another throw. And you can actually break his wheelchair to pieces by throwing him into it, as I did just there. But as with most of the bad guys, after a moment, a lot of backup from the henchman arrives. So that's what we've got here. Now, Belger does use his harpoon gun a lot. So you have to try to avoid being directly in his path to his left or right to prevent him shooting you with harpoons. Now, once you get him down to a certain low level of health, he'll then go and stand in front of that window. You just need to apply a few finishing blows to knock him out of the window, as I've done, and then the game's complete. Then we get an end game animation of seeing him fly, plummet to his death down below, and then there's the game over sequence, or the game complete sequence, sorry, where now Cody and Guy start to walk away. We see Hager reuniting with Jessica, saying he's so glad to see they didn't hurt her and that he thought he'd lost her, like he apparently lost her mother. I'm saying how much they love each other. Now we see Guy and Cody walking back out of the bad guy's base, through the inner sections, and then through the outer section that we fought through in this round. After a moment, Jessica will come after Cody to ask him where he's going, and he'll say that even though he wants to stay there with her, he can't, because there's evil still walking the streets and he has to do something about it. Okay, here we go, here she comes now. And the guy responds by giving Cody a few punches and knocking him over, then jumping away. Which I'm going to assume was some kind of, I don't know, sportsmanship or reference to them being gym sparring buddies, I don't know. Although in the sequel, Final Fight 2, the opening story sequence does actually say that Cody and Jessica went away on a holiday after the end of this game, so I assume Cody does eventually come back. Okay, so that's finished, and that's Final Fight. Like I say, I really do like this game very much. It was one of my favourite arcade games growing up. I have many fond memories of playing it. I would highly recommend it. I will be doing, if you guys want me to, commentary playthrough videos with Guy and with Hagar as well, but I'll just see how this video goes first of all. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this vid, guys. If you have any questions or any requests or anything, feel free to post them in the comments, and feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want, and see you later. Bye.